this weird photo. It has all of us.
Impossible! No photography, remember purple in the airlock?
I found a Polaroid photo on the cafeteria floor, which was weird because Polaroid cameras haven't existed for 200 years, and we're on a spaceship. The photo showed our entire crew standing in the cafeteria, all 10 of us, smiling at the camera like we were on a field trip instead of a deep space mission. Except we've never taken a crew photo. Our captain explicitly banned recreational photography after the incident with purple and the airlock selfie stick. I flipped the photo over and someone had written in shaky handwriting, "Taken 2 minutes before disaster. Sorry I couldn't save you all." The timestamp on the photo was today's date, 2 hours from now, which meant either someone invented time travel or I was having a stroke. I should have thrown it away, should have laughed it off as a prank, but the handwriting looked exactly like mine when I'm scared. Green walked by and I asked if we'd taken any crew photos recently, and they looked at me like I'd asked if the ship could do backflips. I decided to test it, gathered everyone in the cafeteria for what I called a mandatory safety briefing, which was code for let's recreate this cursed photograph. Everyone stood exactly where they were in the photo without me telling them to, like the universe was playing along with whatever cosmic joke this was. I held up my tablet to take the photo and realized I was about to create the very thing that was warning me, which felt like failing a test I wrote myself. That's when the lights went out and I heard someone say, just like the photo predicted before screaming started. The emergency lights kicked in and Orange was dead on the floor, which was unfortunate for Orange but also exactly what the photo's warning meant. I checked the photo again and noticed something I'd missed before. Orange wasn't in the picture, because dead people don't show up in photographs, they die before. Yellow called an emergency meeting, and everyone pointed at me because I was the one holding the photo like it was evidence I'd brought to my own crime. I tried to explain time travel prophecy, but gave up halfway through when I realized I sounded like a conspiracy theorist having a mental breakdown. They voted to skip because nobody had actual evidence, which bought me time to figure out how to prevent a photograph from the future. I went to security to check the cameras and found another Polaroid taped to the monitor showing me sitting exactly where I was about to sit. This photo was time-stamped 5 minutes from now, and the back said, "Stop trying to prevent it, you're making it worse. Signed, you from 3 photos ago." I had become pen pals with myself across multiple timelines, which would have been cool if I wasn't apparently terrible at giving advice. Pink walked in and I shoved the photos in my pocket like I was hiding drugs, which made Pink immediately suspicious of my pocket drugs. Pink asked what I was hiding and I said Polaroids from the future, and they said, "Oh, like that time travel photo thing, totally normal." Apparently everyone had been finding photos of themselves. We'd all been getting warnings from our future selves, and nobody mentioned it because we thought it was personal. We gathered all the photos in cafeteria and laid them out like a deranged scrapbook of a disaster that hadn't happened yet, but definitely would. Every photo showed someone dying, but they were all from slightly different timelines, like someone kept hitting retry on the same level and failing. Blue's photo showed them dying in navigation, but Purple's photo showed Blue alive and Purple dead in medbay, which meant multiple futures existed and all of them sucked. Cyan found the actual camera in storage, sitting on a shelf like it had always been there, covered in dust from centuries we haven't lived yet. The camera had a note attached that said, "Property of Red, do not use unless you want to remember futures you couldn't prevent." I'd never seen this camera before in my life, which meant future me bought it, used it, and left it here for past me to find, creating a loop of regret. White suggested we destroy the camera, but Yellow pointed out that might be what causes the disaster, and suddenly nobody wanted to touch it. The camera started printing a photo on its own, which cameras aren't supposed to do, especially cameras that are being actively avoided. The photo showed all of us standing around the camera looking scared, which was exactly what we were doing, meaning it was taking a picture of the present. But in the background of the photo, behind us, standing in the doorway, was another figure in a red suit, and I was already wearing the red suit. I turned around slowly, already knowing what I'd see, and there I was, standing in the doorway, holding the exact same photo I was holding. Future me looked exhausted, like they hadn't slept in days, and said, "It's the imposter, it's always been the imposter, but not the one you think." Present me asked which one, and future me pointed at the camera and said, "The camera is the imposter, it's been killing us across timelines to feed on paradox." The camera laughed, actually laughed, a sound like film reels choking on their own memories, and everyone backed away except me and me. Future me explained that the camera feeds on temporal energy created when people try to prevent their photographed deaths, making the deaths happen differently but never preventing them. Every photo was bait. Every warning was designed to make us change our actions, creating new timelines for it to harvest like some kind of cosmic farmer. I asked how many times we'd died, and future me said, "I stopped counting at 47, but I'm from iteration 212. The only way to stop it, future me said, was to do something the camera couldn't photograph, something that didn't exist in any timeline yet. So we did the most unpredictable thing possible. We all voted to eject the camera, which wasn't a person and therefore couldn't legally be ejected. The ship's computer had an existential crisis trying to process how to eject an inanimate object, and in that moment of confusion, the camera's grip on causality slipped. Future me grabbed the camera and ran for the airlock while past me opened it, and we both knew this would create a paradox that would erase one of us. The camera started screaming, which cameras also aren't supposed to do, as future me threw themselves and it into space. I watched myself die in space, watched the camera shatter from the temperature change, and felt the timeline snap back into place like a rubber band. All the photos disappeared instantly, fading like they'd never existed, which they technically hadn't now that the timeline was fixed. Orange was still alive, standing there confused, asking why everyone was crying, and I couldn't explain that we were mourning deaths that never happened. The only proof it happened was that I remembered 212 different ways to die, and the knowledge that somewhere in the multiverse, I'm still trying. Green asked what happened to the safety briefing, and I said it's canceled indefinitely, and everyone seemed fine with that except Cyan, who really wanted to review emergency protocols. That night I found one last Polaroid under my pillow, showing me sleeping peacefully with a note that said, "You did it, we're finally free, signed, every version of you." I burned it immediately because I'd learned my lesson about keeping photographs from timelines that shouldn't exist. Purple asked if I wanted to take a crew photo for the mission log, and I said I'd rather fight the imposter with my bare hands. Someone actually was the imposter that round, killed 3 people, and got caught in 5 minutes, which felt refreshingly simple after temporal paradox horror. When Yellow asked how I stayed so calm during the crisis, I said, "I've seen worse, and technically I had, about 212 times worse. I still have nightmares about Polaroid cameras, and every time I see my reflection, I wonder if it's actually me or some future version trying to warn me. But Orange is alive, the crew is safe, and I successfully prevented a disaster by sacrificing a version of myself I hadn't met yet, which is either heroic or insane. The ship's computer still glitches sometimes when processing voting data, like it remembers that time we voted to eject a camera and broke causality. I'm Red. I killed myself to save myself, and I'm the only person on this ship who knows that Polaroid cameras are more dangerous than imposters. And if you ever find a photo of yourself that shouldn't exist, burn it immediately, because the future you're trying to prevent is exactly the one you'll create. Trust me, I learned that lesson 212 times, and you only need to learn it once.